first night, I thought it was just a fight, a bad day, a long shift that ended with too many words left unsaid. When he didn't come to bed, I assumed he'd fallen asleep on the couch, but the couch was empty. I found him in the driveway, in the driver's seat, engine off, eyes closed, wrapped in a blanket like a man hiding from something bigger than the cold. He didn't even flinch when I knocked on the window, just opened his eyes and said, "Go back inside. I'm okay." But he wasn't, because one night turned into 2, then 4, then 10. For 10 days, my husband slept in his car, quietly, deliberately, like a man punishing himself for something he couldn't say out loud. And when I finally found the notebook, hidden in his glove box, I realized it wasn't me he was running from. It was himself. "My name is Claire. I've been married to Evan for 12 years. Not perfect years, but good ones, real ones. The kind of marriage built on shared routines, whispered jokes under the covers, weekend grocery runs, and long, tired hugs at the end of hard days. But lately, something had changed. Not all at once. It was gradual, like the slow dimming of a light you don't notice until the room is suddenly dark. He started coming home later, not with lipstick on his collar or perfume in his shirt, just a heaviness in his eyes, like he was carrying something that didn't have a name. He smiled less, laughed almost never. He'd sit on the edge of the bed with his shoulders slumped and stare at the floor like it was saying something he couldn't. I asked him if something was wrong. He said it was just stress, that work was busy, that he was tired. We were both tired, I believed him, until the night he didn't come inside. I remember it clearly. A Thursday, cold, quiet. I had gone to bed early. He said he needed a few minutes to clear his head. I thought nothing of it until I woke up at 3:14 a.m. and his side of the bed was still untouched. I walked through the house, checking the living room, the bathroom, the back porch. Nothing. And then I saw the glow of headlights through the curtains. I stepped outside and there he was, in the car, seat reclined, wearing the same hoodie he'd worn that morning. At first, I thought maybe he'd dozed off, but when I knocked gently on the window, he didn't look surprised. Just tired. Really, really tired. "Come inside," I said. "I'm fine," he replied. "I just needed some air." I nodded, but my stomach turned. He stayed out there until morning. The next night it happened again. Then again. By the 4th night, I stopped asking. I cooked dinner and ate alone, washed dishes, folded laundry, listened to the silence where conversation used to live. I tried to be patient, supportive, strong, but inside I was spiraling. Was he cheating, hiding something, planning to leave? I checked his phone when he showered. Nothing. No strange messages. No names I didn't recognize. No late-night calls or deleted texts. Just distance. Emotional, physical, every kind. I wanted to believe it was work. I wanted to believe he'd talk to me when he was ready. But with every night that passed, I felt more like a stranger in my own marriage. It wasn't until the 10th night, when I went out to bring him a blanket, that I accidentally opened the glove box and found something I was never meant to read. By the 5th night, he didn't even pretend it was temporary anymore. He'd wait until I went to bed, then slip out to the car like it was a second home, or maybe a hiding place. He'd park a little farther from the house each time, like putting physical distance between us might quiet whatever was unraveling inside him. I tried to make sense of it. He wasn't angry. He wasn't unkind. He was just gone, and yet still here, a shadow of the man I married, sitting 2 walls away but miles out of reach. During the day, he'd act as if everything was fine. Morning. Coffee? Have a good day. But his eyes wouldn't meet mine, and every word between us felt like it had to pass through a filter of fog, dulled, distant, unfinished. I stopped asking the big questions. Are you okay? Are we okay? Because the last time I tried, he just looked at me with a broken kind of guilt and said, "You wouldn't understand." So I turned inward. I replayed every moment from the last few months. Had I missed something? Had I pushed too hard? Not enough? I checked his emails, his search history, even his bank statements. I hated myself for it, but I needed to know. There was nothing. No affair, no secret life, no gambling, no debts. Just Evan, distant, worn down, fading. The more I searched for answers, the more I started to realize this wasn't about someone else. This was about him. On the 10th night, it rained. I woke up around midnight and instinctively looked out the window. His car was there, fogged over from the inside. I grabbed a throw blanket and slipped out into the cold. When I reached the passenger's side, I saw him sitting there, awake, staring out the windshield like he was watching a movie only he could see. He didn't flinch when I knocked. He rolled down the window slowly. The motor, humming like it, too, was tired. "You're soaked," he said. "So are you," I replied. He looked down. I handed him the blanket. "You can't keep doing this, Evan." "I know." "Then come back inside." He hesitated, then whispered, "I'm not ready." That's when I noticed the glove box slightly ajar. When I leaned in to adjust the blanket on his lap, I bumped it open by accident. Papers spilled out, receipts, an old insurance card, and beneath them, something caught my eye, a black spiral-bound notebook, small, worn, with my name written on the inside cover in his handwriting. I didn't ask to take it. I just gently picked it up, and he didn't stop me. He closed his eyes and leaned back in the seat. I stood there for a moment, notebook in hand, not sure if I was about to find a confession or a goodbye. And then I turned around, walked back into the house, and sat in the kitchen with a cup of cold tea, and started to read. The first page was dated 2 months ago. Just a few lines, messy handwriting, scratched out sentences, but the words felt like they'd been carved, not written, like they'd hurt coming out. "I don't know how to talk to you anymore. Not because I don't want to, but because every time I try, I feel like I'm holding a 1,000-pound weight that I can't let fall on you." I read the line 3 times before I turned the page. The next entry was longer. "You still ask me how my day was. You still smile when I walk in the door. And it kills me, because I'm lying every time I say it was fine. I lost the job, Claire. I didn't quit. I didn't get laid off. I got fired. My performance slipped. I missed deadlines. I showed up late. And the truth is, I stopped caring. I was burned out. But I didn't say anything because I thought you'd look at me differently." My hand started shaking. I turned the page again. "I'm not sleeping in the car because I'm mad. I'm sleeping out there because I can't look at you across the table knowing you think I still have it all together. I thought I could fix it before you noticed. Get a new job, say I switched roles, just fake my way back to being who I was. But I can't. I keep failing, and every time I walk into the house, I feel like a fraud." I stopped reading for a moment, because the tears blurred the ink. Everything I thought he'd been hiding from me, the late nights, the silence, the shame, hadn't been about betrayal. It had been about worth. He didn't think he deserved to come home. The next few pages were letters. Not dramatic confessions, just raw, exhausted honesty. I miss you. I miss feeling like I'm enough for you. I don't know how to be the version of me that you married. You didn't marry a broken man, but that's who I feel like now. And then finally, if you're reading this, I guess I couldn't find the words in person. Just know I love you. I never stopped. I just didn't think I was allowed to be this lost around you. I closed the notebook with shaking fingers. All this time I had assumed the distance between us was built on resentment or indifference or secrets. But really, it was built on fear. Fear that I would stop loving him if I saw him fall. And he had been falling for months, silently, privately, in the driver's seat of his own car, parked 30 feet from the woman he still loved but didn't feel worthy of. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat with the notebook in my lap, listening to the rain on the roof, waiting for the sound of the car door opening, for the moment he came back inside. Because this time I wouldn't ask what he was hiding. This time, I'd show him he never had to hide anything at all. It was 4:12 a.m. when I heard the front door creak open. I didn't move. I just waited, heart pounding, notebook still in my lap, hands gripping the edges like it might slip away. Footsteps, slow, hesitant. Then Evan appeared in the hallway. Same hoodie, same tired eyes. But this time he wasn't looking at the floor. He looked at me. I held up the notebook. He nodded. And then he sat down across from me, his shoulders sagging, like the weight he'd been carrying had finally cracked him open. I didn't want to lie, he said, his voice rough. But I didn't know how to tell you. I wasn't the man you married anymore. I swallowed hard. You think I married a job title? I asked. A paycheck? He looked away. I think you married someone who held things together, who didn't break, who made you feel safe. And when I lost all of that, I didn't know what I had left to offer. That's when I stood and walked around the table. I didn't say anything. I just knelt beside him and held his face in my hands. You had you, Evan, I whispered. That's all I've ever needed. He broke then, not loudly, not messily, just this quiet, shaking kind of grief that happens when you've been holding something in for too long. I let him cry. I cried too. And for the first time in months, maybe years, we were both in the same place. That morning, the sun came up through the window like it hadn't noticed what we'd been through. The world looked the same. The dishes still needed washing. The laundry still sat in a basket in the hallway. But we were different. Not healed, not yet, but open, finally. Evan agreed to see a therapist. We made a list of every bill, every job lead, every step we needed to take. We didn't rush. He moved back into the bedroom, not just physically, emotionally. And every night for weeks we read one page of that notebook together. Sometimes we cried. Sometimes we laughed. Sometimes we sat in silence, just holding hands. There's a new notebook now, one he keeps on his nightstand. He still writes in it, but now he tears out each page and gives it to me. He doesn't hide the hard parts anymore. He shares them. And every time I read one, I remind him, again and again, that I didn't marry a perfect man. I married this man, the one who came back inside. We never told anyone the full story, not because we were ashamed, but because what happened between us didn't need a spotlight. It needed space. It needed trust. It needed time to become something new, not return to something old. Evan found another job, not right away, and not in the same industry. He started small, contract work, freelance gigs, temp assignments, and slowly something shifted, not just in our finances, but in him. The weight began to lift. His shoulders relaxed. The fear in his eyes softened into clarity. He stopped measuring his value by income, and I stopped trying to fix him when he didn't ask to be fixed. We learned to talk again, not just about bills and schedules, but about feelings, big ones, scary ones, like how I had felt invisible in my own home, how he had been drowning in silence, how we had both been waiting for the other to say, "Please don't let go." Every Sunday now we have what we call no filter hour, no screens, no pretending, just tea and honesty. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's 5 minutes of truth and 55 minutes of just sitting together, and that's enough, because we stopped fearing the hard parts. We stopped mistaking silence for strength. I keep both notebooks in a box at the back of our closet. The one I found in the glove box, and the one he gave me afterward, page by page. The box is labeled, in his handwriting, "When we found our way back." And I think that's exactly what happened. We didn't fall apart. We paused. We separated under the weight of things we were too afraid to say out loud. And then slowly we found the language for them. Sometimes love doesn't leave in one loud moment. Sometimes it just slips into the background while both of you get too good at surviving. But the people who matter most are the ones who don't disappear when it gets quiet. They sit beside you, wait outside the car, and remind you, you don't have to be perfect to be loved.